We are now ready to start stitching on the dragon. The centre marked with the thread on the Aida and marked here with the pencil cross on the pattern. So I'm going to usually start with a colour that is used quite a bit in the pattern, and start with a small batch of a colour. If you can start with a bigger patch, it will give you more stitches which you can then use to finish off other stitches at the back, which we'll see later. So if you look at this dragon here, I'm working on the black and white pattern. So we have the key here. It tells us which colour each symbol relates to. So there's obviously a lot of this triangle symbol, and it's near to my centre point. So I'm going to start with the triangle symbol, and that is 498, which is this lovely shade of red. So we will start stitching with that. Now you need to take out some of your thread. You'll see there's a loose end. There are two ends of the packet to your thread. It comes with this little wrapper at this end, which has DMC written on it, and this end, which has the barcode and the thread number. You want to make sure you pull the thread from the end with the number. It's then much less likely to tangle. So we've got our end here, and you can just gently pull it out. If you do it too fast, it probably will tangle, and hopefully, it doesn't always work, it will come out, which it's doing now. You need to decide how long a thread you're going to stitch with. I use 24 inches. I think that's quite a nice length. It's not too short and it's not too long that it tangles. So I just measure twice along my ruler, and grab my scissors and cut the thread. Now, something that often confuses beginners is that you do not stitch with this entire thread. I remember when I started, I was so confused by that. You've got this thread, it looks very pretty, you have your fabric, you think you're just going to sew this into your needle and get going. You don't do that. It would be very, very rare in cross stitch for you to do that. The pattern shows you here, it says the number of strands to use. So for cross stitch, which is standard, you use 2 strands of thread. For back stitch, that we'll get to in future videos, it tells you whether to use 1 or 2 strands. Now for cross stitch, you can assume that as a standard you are going to use 2 strands of thread. Now what do we mean by strands? If you look at this thread closely, you can see it splits, and it's 6 strands in each skein of thread, and it splits up into 6 strands. As I say, instinctively you think, oh no, I must keep the strands together. You don't. You're going to pull out the strands. So it says 2 strands for cross stitch, and that's what you will normally use, but pull out 1 strand, because we've measured 24 inches. We're going to stitch with 12 inches of length by folding the 1 strand in half, which I'll show you in a minute. So you pull out your 1 strand, do that gently, otherwise this can buckle up a bit. There. And keep the other 5 strands. Can tie them around the thread. If you've bought the bobbins, then you can remove the entire skein and wind it around the bobbin. But for now, I'm just going to knot that strand, and that'll be ready for the next piece that we use. Right, so we're now going to take our 1 strand of thread and bring the 2 ends together. And you're going to thread it from your needle from these 2 ends, not from this end. You have a loop at this end, which we're going to use for our loop start, and you have the 2 loose ends brought together at this end. So if I lick these ends, and this is why you need a needle with a big enough eye, you're going to thread both of them through the needle, which is hopefully going to work. No, it's not going to work. Here we are. And you're just going to sew like you would sewing on a button. The only difference is that you've got the 2 threads and you've got the loop at the other end. So in the next video, I'm going to show you how to start stitching with the loop start.